Well, we're out for another snow day, unbelievably, and I thought I would do a tutorial kind of helping you guys run through how to create a confidence interval using the acronym PANIC. Whenever you get a free response question and you're asked to create a confidence interval of pretty much any type, you're going to use PANIC to make sure that we include all the necessary parts. One of the things that we're going to do is we're going to have to pay attention to all of these little things right here. And so once you get the question, it's a matter of just simply running through these and making sure that we know what we're talking about. For example, P, parameter of interest. This basically right here, if I'm looking at P, I'm really trying to answer the question, what is the parameter of interest? What am I trying to find out? I don't really grade this part because it's typically built right into the question, and so I don't need to, it's usually not a mystery. However, if you can't write down this piece here, P, you're going to have a real difficult time answering the conclusion part at the very end. So it's always a good idea to write this out and just to have a good indication of what's really happening. Okay, so in this case, we're looking at question 15. It was about a philanthropic organization trying to figure out how many people on its mailing list would actually donate. So they sent out 100,000 mailers, and they asked people to donate. And they had 4,781 people to return donations. So that was just a sample, and they're trying to determine something about their population. So we're inferring back from a sample to a large population of interest. Now, once you've got that established, what we were trying to do, now we need to run through our assumptions and their conditions, because if these fail, some cases, it will prevent us from actually doing the confidence interval at all. So the first part we have is random. Now, most of the time, this is either going to be stated in the problem, or it's going to be kind of a logical explanation of that this makes sense, that it's a random sample. We don't have any reason to believe it's biased. If it is biased, then it's probably going to be pretty evident in the problem. In this case, the second part, you have independence. We're running through here. Individuals will donate independent of each other. And so if my neighbor donates and I get selected in part of the sample too, it won't really matter to me if my neighbor donated or not. I'm going to choose to donate independently of anybody else. The third one is 10%. Here we have 10 times our sample size to get 1 million. In this case, we're looking at basically U.S. adults, so there's, or maybe even households, there's way more than 1 million potential households to receive a mailing. And so that makes sense that my population is a lot bigger than 1 million, so 10% is satisfied. Under success or failure, now I wrote the formula down for x over n equals p hat. Sometimes I need this piece and sometimes I don't. In this case, they told me how many successes I had. And so that's really important because that's n times p, right? We're looking for x, n times p, or in this case p hat, but they told us that number. I can subtract it from 100,000 to figure out how many people did not donate to this group. Both of these are greater than or equal to 10, so 10%, or success and failure, it has been satisfied. Therefore, since all the assumptions and conditions have been met, we can create a confidence interval. The next part is to actually go through that interval. Now here, so that was P, that was A, now we're down to N. So you see N here, it's named the interval, so we're actually going to run through this. Now, I wrote one prop as the interval because that's the function in the calculator. If you haven't figured out how to do that yet, check out the other video that I posted. It tells you how to do it in the calculator, real short video. These are the inputs. You had 4,781 for X. N is 100,000. My confidence level is 95%. The important part of this is that I wrote out the formula, either the name of the interval or the formula used to create the interval. Either one would be sufficient. Okay, I is going to be the actual interval itself. In this case, 0.0465 to 0.0491. Either I use the formula or I got that from the calculator. Make sure to go to 4 decimal places if you have that many. And in this part, it's easy. It's just the calculations. And the last part is the conclusion. C. You've got a few things that's important. We are 95% confident. Now, this part is you are confident, or it's either I or we or whatever. Never try to make the 95% something about a probability. It's 95% chance that my interval contains my parameter. That's absolutely false. In your book, in chapter 19, it goes through several different incorrect uses of the 95%. I would definitely check that out. The next part of it is that you put it in context. In this case, this is the true proportion of their mailing list who may donate is between, right? So that's the second part. 95% is applied to you. The second part is make sure it's in context. And the third part is that you actually use your actual interval in the problem. Notice here, I changed to percentages, not a proportion. It just makes sense to talk about that in terms of percentages. It's easy to talk about. Okay? And then once you're done with that, you're done. That's the whole problem. And you can apply this rule to any other particular question involving creating a confidence interval. If you got any questions, please post them in the comments below.